So thinking of the rest of the information that the students got that's going to be useful, what we can do is add that information into this screen so that everything then is together for the student to refer to later. So if we look initially at the essay question, which, as I said, comes along like this, what we can do is we can take a screen print of that particular page and then go back to AudioNotetaker, and in the reference or the text pane, it really doesn't matter which, would be worth putting at the start of the presentation. So if we just put the cursor in there and click Control and V, and you'll see there that we have the essay question carried over. It's just a print of the screen with the colour coding, etc. So that refers then the start of the presentation on the left, the audio, what the lecturer is saying on the right, refers then to the essay question itself. So that's incorporated the essay question into this. We've already got the PowerPoint in there. So the other thing that we're looking at here, part of what the audio says is that the lecturer is telling us that they're giving you some resources to look at, giving the student some resources to look at that the student might want to refer to. So again, we can add some information here. So it might say A is the Department of Health website. So if we look at the Department of Health website on the internet and we copy and paste the address at the top, just copy the address there with a link, go back to AudioNotetaker, and again in the pane relevant to that particular slide we can paste a link in, which will act as a link that goes through to the web page like that. Back to the software again. Here we've got follow the reflective cycle and a little bit more speech from the lecturer. Mentioned the Gibbs cycle here. So again, the different sections of the reflective cycle we can add in as well. And if we find that along the bottom, we have on the Diverse Learners website the Gibbs reflective cycle broken down in a mind map. Here we go. So what we want to do again is incorporate this information into AudioNotetaker, and we can either do it as a web link like we did before, or we can copy and paste, or we can do print screen. We'll go with what shall we do this time? We'll do copy and paste, I think. No, we won't. What we will do is another web link like this. So again, back to AudioNotetaker. At the side of the slide that mentions Gibbs, pop the URL in there, and that will take us straight then to the reflective cycle broken down on Diverse Learners website. Okay, so we have now the reflective cycle for Gibbs, which the lecturer has mentioned is useful to use and is also on the slide there. We've got one of the resources that has been recommended by the lecturers, got the link for that there. And then we can also write some text here at the side. So we might, again, this is part of the audio, which you can listen to probably at the AudioNotetaker desk today. Look at the National Service Frameworks. So it's telling us even what to look for within that particular link. Okay, so we've got lots of things all coming together now. So the other two things that we had got that were going to be useful to look at were the feedback previously given to the student, and again we can just copy and paste that information into the text box of AudioNotetaker. Just pop it towards the end where the slides are finishing. There. Okay, so it works just like Word documents, copy and paste information, and that's got that information there. And then the final thing was to get the criteria for that particular level of writing in there as well. So if we do print screen again and pop that in the next box at the bottom.
Michelle, could you put the marking criteria as with the PowerPoint slides, even though it's not a PowerPoint, if that makes sense to the student?
Let's have a look. We can put that. You can actually, Kerry, just bear with me for a second. Take it out, pop it in because it is an image, and pop it in there.
Lovely.
Yes, it does appear.
Because to me that would make more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you're right. You're right. Okay.
Well, I know it's personal preference, but as a sort of, you know, as if it makes sense to me, then I'm much easier to teach. I'm much more likely to be able to teach it to the student.
Exactly, and the key to it is that the student has their own preference where they want these things. Yeah. So yeah, because it's not relating to a slide specifically, it would be just as well putting it at the bottom when the slides are finished.
I mean, it could go in the reference or the text box as well, couldn't it? Really,
yeah,
depending on what makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, those are the boxes that will work just like Word document. You can move information about. You can decide. You know, again, you've got the links there. We've got everything that we need in there for the student then to refer to. Much better than having lots and lots of papers hanging around. The student will have thought about, okay, what does the slide say in this left-hand column? What has the lecturer said that adds more information in the audio column on the right? So we've got this red bit, again, as I say, do this, the dark blue bit, don't do this. Often these are what appear to be throwaway comments from the lecturer, but are really important for the student to take on board, really, to get, you know, to increase the marks, reduce their effort.
And of course might be missed by note taking.
Sorry?
And might be missed by note taking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the point of this really, if the student can get into the habit of recording the lecture with the software straight away, then these chunks are already available, and the student then, you know, as soon as the tutor says this is really important, or don't do this is what's happened before and don't do it, then the student, as you know, Kerry, already can change these colours as they go along. And this particular student had already changed these colours, is quite used to doing this part of it, but just needed that little bit more of, you know, how can we make this work a little bit better for me.
Bit like me.
Like all of us, I think. Much better than getting, you know, all the papers that we get, the student gets, tends to be white, A4 size, black print, and if it's just shoved in a pile with everything else, it's often too much of effort to find it, so the student will go with only one of these sections, you know, either the PowerPoint or what the lecturer has said, or just the essay question itself, or particular you know, the reflective cycle in this case. But all of that information together is really useful for the student to be able to hit in one go.
Lovely. Well, I've got one more question for you, Michelle.
Yeah, okay. I'll see
because it's all in one place, that's excellent.
Yes.
I can really see the benefit of that. And this is the bit that I was struggling with. I understood how the audio worked, and I knew you could import the images, but I couldn't quite match them up, so that's been really helpful. But if it's all in one place, it could turn into quite a big document. So how would you search AudioNotetaker, for example, for a specific topic? So say, oh, I really need to have a look at the Gibbs reflective cycle. How would I find it?
Right, okay, so if say a student knows that they've covered it perhaps in the past and wants to transfer something from a past essay introductory session that they've recorded in the past, what we can do here then is, if we go into this column at the top left and through the manage column here, find in files, if we click on that, and then this little search box comes up. So if we said here, and I've done one of these previously actually for somebody, put down who the speaker is, which will already have been saved, as you know, before in the titles. And if you're just looking for Gibbs, so if you click on Gibbs there and search, and then this is what comes up. Okay, so we've got, it's mentioned in there, and then also it's the Diverse Learners website linked to the reflective guide as well. So, and then you just click on it, and it takes you to that particular one.
Brilliant.
And it highlights the actual slide that it's in.
Excellent, Michelle. I think I've got the hang of it now.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay. The other thing to bear in mind also, Kerry, is there is a help system on here. Obviously, no shame in having to use these. There's a good user guide. So, you know, finding information, changing colours, which I've looked at with a student previously.
So you do this with the student present?
Absolutely, yeah.
So they become familiar with where the help is, so they become more independent?
Yeah, and I think it's really useful that they see that you don't necessarily know everything, that you know, that you teach them that, look, we don't expect you to know everything, but that's what the help boxes are there for. You know, just sort of thinking, I wonder if you can do that. If you look through the help sections, and of course there are tutorials within AudioNotetaker, then that's going to be useful. There's not this expectation that we're all technical wizards. It's about knowing that the information's there if you look for it.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Michelle. That's
okay.
Brilliant.
You're welcome.
Ta-ra!
Bye.